Hey everybody, if you saw one of my other videos, you saw that one of our wheels actually came off while we were pulling into a truck stop towards the beginning of our trip down here to Florida. I didn't really document how I ended up fixing the wheel or anything like that in that video. And then as we were coming here again, I think in South Carolina or something like that, our wheel fell off in a Wawa parking lot because I didn't fix it as well as I should have, to be honest with you. So I had to do the whole process over again. I didn't document that because I was just so amazed by the fact that the wheel fell off again. So now that I have some time and I'm not stuck in a parking lot somewhere, the parts that they gave us on the second time it fell off, they're not exactly the exact right parts. They got us to where we needed to go, but I need to change those studs, the wheel studs, out to the correct ones. So I figured now I'll just document it. So you show you guys what I had to do. Obviously, we have the wheel on still, okay, but the process is going to be the same. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is take this wheel off. I've already loosened the lug nuts. If you don't know how to change a tire, ask your local adult or consult your, owner's manual. But I'm going to skip all that. But I wanted to show you guys this in case you haven't seen it before. There's actually a thing called an axle saddle. Okay, it goes on top of your bottle jack, and it actually holds the axle around it. So you're not just putting a flat surface onto a round surface. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and start jacking it up. Like I said, I already loosened the lug nuts, so I'm going to start taking the wheel off. Lug nuts are off, wheels coming off. Alright, there she is. So, when I initially had to fix this, well, you saw it in the video, but basically these were completely just bare, stripped. All 6 of them. Okay. Obviously these ones seem to be still look pretty good, so I guess I did a good job on the way here, but we still want the right parts for the thing. Okay. So on this type of axle, Dexter axle here, there is kind of like a retaining clip right here. Y'all make sure you have some sort of clean towel or something so you can set all your parts on it and it doesn't contaminate the bearings and all that stuff, because that involves taking the bearings out and all this. Okay. Get yourself a pry tool, preferably, or something to get this off. I use just a trim pry tool to get behind there. They also make non-metallic ones, just plastic ones. You can get them at AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, all that stuff. If you're using a metallic one, don't go too crazy. Okay, don't start scratching stuff up. Just get it behind that clip best you can. Go around. Around. Pop that clip off. Okay, that clip is what kind of holds that bolt on there in place. If you look, I'm gonna clean that now. If you look, it's kind of D-shaped. The bolt itself over here, or excuse me, the what am I talking about? The bolt there is D-shaped also, so that just makes it so it holds it in place. So go ahead and clean this real quick. This is just brake parts cleaner. Good cleaner for everything. Clean it off. This is good because, and I dropped it again. Okay. Clean it off. Put it on your clean paper towel there. Next up, grab a wrench or whatever. Okay. Take this thing off. This bolt is what holds your whole axle together, kind of, or your whole wheel assembly here, wheel hub assembly on. That wrench shouldn't be too necessary because it should just be finger tight, and I'll talk about that when I reinstall the hub. Okay, but having the wrench is still good because right here, so it got stuck. Pretty sure that might be a little bit of damage from from it falling off twice. But that just keeps this bolt from coming off, so I call it kind of a win. Maybe a positive damage, as you can call it. So that just came off. Alright. Now, there's a bunch of different ways to do this, but the way that I do it is I'll take a paper towel and hold one side of the paper towel here, one side of the paper towel here, and pull out. What that is because there's a washer right here, and then the outer bearing is right inside of it. So we don't want those falling off, because if that bearing gets dented or chipped or anything, that bearing is toast. You gotta go get a new one. So you want to do what you can to keep it from falling onto the ground. So I'll thicken up the paper towel, double it over, and then just kind of fold it in half, maybe twice. And then put it over here and hold it in place. And then this hub, wiggle it a little bit. This hub will come off. And that keeps the bearing in place. Okay, so I'm just gonna, actually I'm just gonna put it right here for now. Okay. So if you look here, there's that washer. And the bearing, outer bearing. I'm probably gonna clean this before I put it back in. There's lots of videos of how to properly re-grease your bearing, so I'm probably not going to do that in this video. But just make sure you clean it out. Replace the grease, all that. Okay. So, this, I don't know what to call it, honestly. This shaft is, it's kind of dirty. I think I'm gonna clean it too and re-grease it because again, I was so in a hurry on the last times they fell off that I just I didn't do proper maintenance, if you can call it. I did good enough to not get anything in there, but I didn't really do what I should. So I'm gonna clean that off. If you look, it's got a few little dark spots. It just makes me a little bit nervous. So I'm gonna do that probably later. All right. So what we're gonna do now, so that we don't get anything in case the Florida winds come, so we don't get anything in this little area here. I'm gonna take a plastic bag, cover this up, just to kind of keep any nastiness from getting in there. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so I'm gonna take you guys with me and we'll take this because I have to go do this in a different spot. Okay. Now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you the process. I have to have some concrete surface for this to work. Or hard surface, doesn't have to be concrete necessarily. But. All right, so. Paper towels. Again, I love paper towels, love shop towels. This on the ground. Take that hub that we took off, put it right here. All right. Get yourself a good 3-pound sledgehammer. Okay. Just pound those studs out of there. Thought I could get all of them in just 3 hits. Just kind of seething. Get those out of the way. Okay, that's all there is to that part. Now, we'll flip it over. Try to be as careful of this as possible. Again, if you dent it, scratch it, something like that, it could cause problems. Okay. Okay. These are the new studs. It's the old stud. If you can see, the original stud had kind of a longer shoulder here, whereas this one had just kind of a short, short little bit. So essentially, it didn't have as much teeth to grab on, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what throws me off of wanting to keep these on there. Also, the head is slightly bigger, so that'll just make it so it sits in there a little bit more flush, a little bit more steady. So this part is the fun part. Drop that in there. Kind of try to line up the grooves that are there, or that are in it, so that you're not kind of cross threading. I guess it's not really cross threading, but that's what I can relate it to. So this whole process is what I've had to do at both of the times that the wheel came off. So I had to replace the studs. I had to do this in the middle of parking lots. This is kind of nice. This would be kind of low key. So anyway, they make, I think they're like bearing removal kits or something. They make actual things that can sit on top of here, and you can whack the crap out of it, and it'll flatten those down. Okay, I just use the old stud, just head to head, and then whack it. I kind of see the paper towel as kind of a buffer from scratching the other side of the hub here. I could be wrong, but that's what I see it as. So if you look here, that stud, sorry, I'm trying to do this without being able to actually see it. So that stud right there is below flush. You want to make sure that all of these studs are below flush, because this right here is your brake drum. And what that does is it has a magnet that grabs onto this, and as the wheel spins, the magnet grabs onto it, and then the drum brake engages the side of this. So the harder this grabs on, the harder you're braking. So just make sure this is flush, because otherwise it whacks into that magnet, and now you just broke the magnet. And you want to hit it until you hear kind of a change in pitch. I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but that's all there is to replacing those studs. Okay. Now the sun's coming out, and I don't want to deal with all this in the sun, so we're going to go back to where we were before. Alright, we're back over here. So I'm going to go ahead and clean off that, clean the shaft, you know what I'm saying? So, I know I said I wasn't really going to cover this, but it's kind of required for the whole process. Find a place to put all this here. So, just gonna do a quick little cleanup of the bearing here. I go through a lot of paper towels. I'm a clean freak when it comes to that kind of thing. Making sure no, whatchamacallit, contamination. Sure there's nothing contaminated in there, because that can really, like, one grain of sand can really mess up your entire axle and everything. There's that. Spray this out real quick. When you're doing it this way and you're not going to be changing that inner bearing, try not to spray it in there, because this gets rid of grease. But I have to kind of spray this because there's some metal shavings that kind of came off of those bolts. So I'm just going to put this on there. Again, try not to spray the bearing seal is what it's called, because there's rubber inside of there, and this stuff can deteriorate rubber. It's non-chlorinated, but you still, you never want to be too safe. You can never be too safe. Clean that off, get as much of that stuff out of there as you can. there's that. Okay. Now, turn off the... I wish there's another word for that. There's probably another word for that because I keep feeling weird saying shaft. But clean that off now. As you're in here, take a look at your brakes. Make sure that there's still some meat to them. If not, again, look up a YouTube video for how to change the brakes. It's a fairly simple process. I think the hardest part is probably adjusting them so that they sit right. I'm going to be using that same bag as a trash bag. Multiple uses, you know? As you're doing this, just take a look, make sure there's no, you know, no grooves in this, where there isn't supposed to be a groove. If there is, you're probably gonna have more work on your hands than you wanted to. Okay. Just doing a quick cleanup there. That's all there is to it. Cleaning off that old grease, taking a look. Okay. This axle is what's called an easy grease axle. I just, you know, now realized. So usually there's a little like nipple that comes out of this. That this part of the grease gun, where this part just clips onto, and you could just grease your axle real quick. Not very recommended because you can blow out that rear seal if you're not careful. But anyway. I'm probably not going to replace that fitting because, as you saw, it's not there. I'm probably not going to replace it because I don't use the easy grease system, but that's something I just noticed is not there. So that came off when the wheel fell off, or broke off, I say. So that would involve like an easy out and all kinds of stuff, and I don't want to do that right now. So anyway, take a look at that too if you're one of the ones that uses that easy grease fitting. Alright, now as you saw, my grease gun, cobalt grease gun, got the red grease in it. I think that's really what it's called. I don't remember. Lucas red grease, I think so. I'm just gonna put basically a little line on it. Okay. Doing that. All right. Okay. And then I'm just gonna kind of go around, move that around there. There's a little lip back here, I guess you could say. This little like step right here. Do not grease past that because that's essentially what the rear seal butts up against. Okay, and you don't want grease coming out into your brake area here because then it gets on your brake drum and then you can't stop as easily. So I just go up to that step and then call it a day. If it does go a little bit higher, I mean, I'm pretty sure the seal actually goes over that step and actually seals against that next tire spot. But if nothing else, the grease from the rear bearing will get up in there and do what it needs to do. grease stains. Okay. Clean that up a little bit. That's all set. Take this thing out of the middle of the hub there. Okay. And just put it back on. Same way it came off. Okay. That's on there. Sweet. Okay. I've done this a couple times, so I know what order it goes in, but when you are stacking parts on the paper towel, just make sure if you haven't done this before, put them in the order that they came off so that you can put them back on in the reverse order. Or watch this great video and I'll show you which order they go in. Alright, so next step, like I said earlier, I'm going to clean this bearing because it's gross. It's gross and I don't trust the integrity of it in terms of the grease that's in there and all the stuff that possibly got in there while I was, on the road repairing kind of stuff. So basically, you just take the bearing and spray brake parts cleaner on it. Don't be stingy on the brake parts cleaner. Clean it out, all that nasty grease out of there. And as you're doing this, again, you're just inspecting, making sure that the little cylinder bearings aren't scratched or chipped in any way. Because again, if there's got a chip or scratch or anything, it'll dig a groove into this race, the thing between the inner race, I guess it's called. And then it'll just cut and cut and cut until it cuts your entire bearing off. Again, I'm very anal retentive, so I sit here and I clean, blow out as much of that old grease as I can. Do your best not to contaminate, or excuse me, cross grease, I guess you could say. Use the different type of grease than what the manufacturer put in, unless you're going to absolutely clean your entire bearing, like all the bearings, entirely clean this whole hub system. Okay, because each grease has a different temperature rating, I guess you could say. So yeah, don't be mixing them greases. Don't cross the streams, you know. So there we go. Nice, clean bearing. Okay, now that we cleaned all that grease out of it, now we have to put grease back in it. I'm going to give it a little bit of time to dry out here. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to clean these pieces. I'm so excited to get to share this adventure with you all now. I know I cleaned this thing about 8 times in the time I took it off. I'll clean some more because it's got some grease on it. Yeah. So far it's taken 35 minutes for me to do this project. Not terrible. Dig it. That's what happens when you've had to do it 4 times already, you know? Cool. Alright, so those are good. Now, this little guy, you can get it at AutoZone. They also make manual bearing greasers, I guess. That is literally just you put the grease inside of this little cup looking thing, then you put the bearing in, and then it has like a little plunger that goes on top, and you just squeeze, like push it down, and it greases the bearing for you. I don't know. I don't want to use that, basically. I like this better because it connects to a grease gun. I'll show you that here in a second. So, inside, it's got a little, I guess a little bolt. And that bolt has a hole in it. Oh, you can't even see it. What am I doing? It has a little hole in it. Okay. Match the shape of the bearing with the shape of the cone here. Center it as best you can. Make sure that hole that's in the bolt is above the actual white part, obviously, because that's what's going to be squishing grease from the bottom up. So that, and put this guy on, same shape. Close until it's tight. Tight. Best you can. Okay, and that's what it's like with the bearing inside of it. Okay, clip this little thingy in there on the bottom. Okay, this is actually what that little connection looks like that I was talking about that broke off on the wheel. Same kind of connection. Just pop it on there and start squishing. So basically you just squeeze, keep going. Go slow, because it obviously starts coming out of that if you're not holding it right. Go slow. Give it a chance to get that seal. Keep squishing. Hope I have enough grease in here to actually show this process. The suspense is killing you, I know. Suspense is killing me. I don't even know if it's working. There we go. Now we're seeing stuff. I was a little worried. So anyway, squeak. Keep going until you see that old grease come out of there. Should look clean, obviously. Alright, so that's good enough, let's say. So now, pop that thing off. That was close. I almost got that on my phone. A little grease snot. Oh. Okay. Again, paper towel is your best friend. That. Okay, unscrew the top here. You have a nice greased bearing. Put that right there for now because I'm going to clean it off. So, here on this, okay, I'll take this bearing out. Nice greased bearing. And it goes with the small side forward. So it's kind of cone shaped. Small side towards the axle here. Let's put that on. You should not have to force any part of this. You just kind of wiggle it and it'll go on. Okay, that's all there is to it. Put that in there and you're good to go. Okay. Alright, so there's that. Next thing is that washer. Okay. Face it same way as it fits on the shaft, I guess. Okay. all that grease that's on there is not a big problem, because essentially that washer and the bolt is kind of what keeps the grease in there, all along with a grease cover, a dust cover, which I'll show you. Fun story, I didn't realize I lost the dust cover too the first time the wheel fell off. And I'll show you what the dust cover is. It's just a cover that goes over this part to keep dust out. Yeah, we name things literally here. But that was gone. I didn't realize that until the second time the wheel fell off, and I looked and I said, uh-oh, where'd that go? Because I remembered it wasn't there the first time. All right, so that's on there, somewhat back. You don't have to worry about getting anything too tight right now. Put this bolt on, or this nut on rather. There we go. Again, you shouldn't have to force anything on this in this job. If you are, that means something is cross-threaded or you have bigger problems than you thought. So just, if something's catching, don't force it. Take a look. Take a second. Drink some water. Take some Motrin. You know, that kind of thing. Change your socks. So we're going to finger tighten this for now. All right. Now, if you look at the Dexter axle manual, all right, it gives you two options for tightening this up. And basically what tightening this up is going to do is just going to put everything in place and make sure everything's kind of tight in there and everything kind of falls where it needs to be. There's two options. One is you get an actual torque wrench with I don't remember the size. Again, look at the Dexter axle manual, and it'll tell you what that torque wrench is and the size of the nut. It also says if you take a pair of pliers, put it on there and one hand tight, and then basically loosen it again and then finger tighten it, that works too. That equals out to about the same as the torque. Use whatever makes you feel comfortable, right? I'm gonna use the wrench method, obviously, plier method. Just go grab this, widen this out a little bit. Just go grab it. Excuse me. And then just one-handed. Yeah. On there. I also want to do a quick spin, just again to make sure everything gets in there. Everything's, you know, in place. Make sure nothing pops into place all of a sudden. Spin it around. Okay. There's that. So that seats everything. Now you loosen this again. And you just finger tight. Glob of grease that's inside of there is bothering me. So. Get that out of there. And kind of while I'm thinking about it, if you do happen to get any grease on your braking surfaces or any kind, use that brake cleaner and clean the bejesus out of it. Make sure every bit of that grease is gone. Because again, it affects your stopping power if you don't. This is high temperature grease, so it's not just gonna burn off that easily anyway. So last thing I did was I finger tightened it back on, right? Then you take this little guy again, okay, match the shape you learned in kindergarten. And then put it back on. Ta-da! So that's that. Now, again, that dust cover disappeared, so now I'm going to put a new dust cover on. I didn't really mention it in the beginning because there was no dust cover on there, but if you have, when you do this and you have to remove that dust cover, even if you're just re-greasing the bearings and all that stuff, you just take a hand, I use a rubber mallet. Use a rubber mallet, don't use that 3-pound sledgehammer that I showed you earlier. Use a rubber mallet and just on the top of this, just kind of go around it, spin the wheel, take and just kind of slowly pound that off. Okay, I've had to put a little bit of spice on it to get it to come off, so don't be afraid. You're gonna dent it, it's gonna happen, but you can get a new one if it really bothers you that much. The last one that I actually got another one when I went to go replace these studs this second time. The one that I got didn't have this little rubber thing on it, and so it didn't fit, or it didn't fit. I don't know if one led to the other, but this little rubber cover is for that easy grease, Dexter easy grease, whatever it is, bearing attachment. You pop that rubber thing out, connect your grease gun, and squeeze it in there. Okay, we're gonna see if this fits, and it does. Hooray! Oh. All right. I don't know why I thought it was just going to go in easily. So, right tool, right job. All right, I gotta go get my rubber mallet. All right, I'm back. Rubber mallet. Even pressure all around. Just make sure it sits flush. Hooray. Okay. Now, that's really all there is to it, y'all. All I'm going to do is just put the wheel back on and tighten the lug nuts to their specified torques. And that's it. Feel free to leave comments if you like. I always like praise. If you think there's a better way I could have done it, I'll listen to it, but the job's already done, and I did it how I did it. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, y'all. Hopefully I'll have another video for you. Part of me doesn't want to, because that means something went wrong. But we'll talk to y'all later.